Drop it. Yeah.
So what is going on, everybody? My name is Flexy, and today I've got another video for you. Now, I've done a video quite a while back actually where I've played Bujin online on EDO Pro against Dogmatica Outlet, and I've even beat them. I'm gonna put the video in the top right corner. Go check it out if you haven't already. But since then my deck profile has changed quite a bit, and so I thought I might show you what I've done so far. And now before I hop into this, however, I want to show you quickly. I want to give shoutouts to Charles from Team COG. He's a great guy. We've been talking for quite a while now. I've loved his channel ever since I started playing Yu-Gi-Oh! Competitively. He's taught me a lot, or actually all of his viewers, a lot about Crusaders. And once he started printing and selling 3D printed field centers, he made me one especially for me with the Bujin artwork, which I appreciate a lot and is very beautiful. But yeah, just to take this out of the way now, let's hop into the profile. Now obviously this is a Bujin deck. I'm playing 3 Bujin Yamatos, the ultimate rares by the way, very beautiful. If you don't know what this does, is that basically the deck revolves around him staying on the field and being protected by not only his Beast Warriors but also by other cards in our deck. And once in your own end phase, you can take a Bujin monster from the deck to your hand and then send one Bujin monster from your hand to the graveyard. And some of the Bujingi monsters, the beast monsters, protect them from the graveyard, some of them protect them from the hand, so there's basically a fine balance between that, and you can recycle your resources like that. The Bujingi beast monsters, which is 3 Bujingi Crane in this case, this is a hand trap basically that boosts Yamato's attack points. And you know, you'll see once you get to play this deck a little bit, or also I'm gonna play some remote duels and then upload them on this channel. Having Yamato on field protected by some hand traps and stuff, or like trap cards in general, will mean that sometimes your opponent won't be able to remove it by card effects, then they will just try to summon a bigger monster and beat over him. But then having a Crane in hand will ruin their plans as well, and then oftentimes that leads to winning the duel slowly. So 3 Crane definitely important. Also 3 Bujingi here, protecting him from being destroyed by battle or card effects from the graveyard. That's why 3 is definitely important. Then I'm playing 2 Turtles. Turtles protect him from being targeted by card effects, which doesn't come up as often as him being destroyed. That's why I'm playing 3 Hair and 2 Turtle. But sometimes it can definitely come up, especially with like impermanences on him, on his end phase effect. Playing 2 is definitely enough. And then I'm playing 2 Sinyo. Now Sinyo is also a card that boosts his attack points, however it's from the graveyard. And then usually it only comes up that you can, if you have the choice, you can choose to have 1 Bujingi in hand and 1 Bujingi in graveyard. And the best case would be that you have a Crane, or as you might have seen by now, the Honest, in hand, and then like a Hare, or which is a little bit worse, a Turtle in graveyard. But if you can't have any of those, or if there's no chance that you will have a Crane in the hand or like an Honest, then Sinyo is definitely a good alternative just for the attack boost to still come in, which can come in super clutch oftentimes. And then, as I've mentioned before, 3 Honest. Honest is way better than any of the attack pushes the Bujingi monsters can provide, but you can't search it, so obviously I wouldn't need more than that. So 3 Honest, 3 Cranes, perfect. In terms of spells, I play 3 Fire Formation Tenki. Now this one searches the Yamato, and it's super important that that we get to the Yamato, because as you could have guessed by now, because I'm not playing any of the other Bujin monsters, this deck doesn't revolve around summoning the extra deck monsters and beating over your opponent's monster, or like clearing your opponent's boards and stuff. This is mainly, like, this deck solely focused around Yamato staying on field and beating over your opponent's monsters and chipping away at his life points slowly. That's why playing any card that can help you get to Yamato is essential. So 3 Tenki, but I'm also playing 2 Pot of Extravagance, and I'm playing 3 Pot of Dualities. Now deck space is pretty tight in this one, and I felt like this is the best ratio, because digging into the top 3 cards to look for a Yamato is oftentimes more important and more helpful than drawing 2 cards at random, basically. Just so you can make sure to see it, but just having some cards that generate your advantage, like draw cards, is super important. That's why I chose to go with this ratio specifically. And then there's another draw card, though this one's a little more specific. It's called Performer Pet Popper Up. If you don't know what it does, it has quite a few effects that I'm not going to mention because they're irrelevant for us. But the only part that we use basically is we send up to 3 cards from our hand to the graveyard, and then we draw that many cards. And then we lose 1,000 life points for every card in our hand after drawing the cards, right? And so how this is helpful is that if you draw into some of your Bujingis, which have to be in graveyard, like Hare, Turtle, and Sinyo in this case, then you can discard them with this one, which basically, well, it doesn't generate you instant advantage, but it's protection for your Yamato, so it's very well, like very good setup for future turns. But it also helps to draw cards, so that's pretty dope. Basically a 2 for 1. That's why I'm playing it only at 2 though. It's hard once per turn, and it's only very helpful if you have Bujingis in hand, so opening it every time or like drawing into it as often as possible is not super good. But this has come in very clutch as well, because I've drawn the Yamato of this one after discarding 2 Bujingis, I think, or 1 maybe even just. So yeah, very cool tech choice, I want to say. Then the one Foolish Burial, I don't think I have to explain this. It just puts the Bujingis in grave very easily and very freely. And the next card is Burial from a Different Dimension, which can get up to 3 banished monsters from your banish zone, obviously, to your graveyard, which is insane in Bujins, because your Bujingis will, after they're banished, like they're gone basically, but especially with the hairs, like if you've banished 2 hairs already and there's no way for you to get into the third hair into the graveyard, then recycling them, or just the sinews and stuff, recycling them is super dope. But opening this card is not too cool, that's why I chose to play 2 cards of a Burial from a Different Dimension. Then there's 3 Cosmic Cyclone. Now, the following cards are just, basically I want to say, counter cards to interact with your opponent, and then I play 3 Cosmic Cyclone to have something against back row decks, but also something to counter stuff like True Draco and Mystic Mind, because of the banishing effect. Then I have 2 Compulsory Evacuation Device. I used to play Compulse and Book of Moon in this deck. However, after changing a few cards in this deck, I've run pretty tight on deck space, and then I had to make a choice between Book of Moon and this one. And I thought that while Book of Moon can be helpful in like booking the normal summon of a combo deck that relies on it, can basically end their turn, I felt like removing the monster instead of giving them the chance, like since Bujin is very slow, it might actually even be the case that I'm not 100% able to remove the monster after booking it. So removing the monster entirely, like let's say Needle Fiber or whatever, appears more helpful to me than just booking the normal summon or whatever. That's why I went with 2 of those. Then I'm playing 3 Infinite Impermanents. I just wanted to play any hand trap, just so I can have like any form of interruption on my opponent's turn. However, I could have played any other hand traps, though, for example, the Performance Pop-Up requires me, or is best used when I have as little cards in hand as possible. And therefore, if I had like an Ash Blossom or whatever, I wouldn't be able to discard it and would lose extra life points and stuff. This one I can set, and not only can I set it, but it also gains extra effects once I set it, so that's why I went with the Imperms. And then the last cards in the main deck are Solemn Judgments, super versatile against basically combo and control decks, but also this is very important because I could have also went with Solemn Strike, which costs less life points basically. But this one's good against back row decks too, so 3 of those definitely don't hurt. Now in terms of the extra deck, there isn't much to say. It's basically just cards for Extravagance by now. I used to play a different build of Bujins, where I also used the other Bujin monsters and then tried to special summon a lot and like go into extra deck monsters and stuff. But in this build specifically, as you might have seen, this doesn't come up basically at all. The only card I would consider summoning is Susano, because he can search or foolish you Bujin monsters, and also he can attack any monster your opponent controls. So let's say you have Susano and Honest in hand, you can basically clear entire opponent's board and almost even OTK in most cases. That's pretty cool. In terms of side deck, there's only one card I really want to talk about in the side deck, that's Bujingi Peacock, but I'm gonna take away the rest real quick. So I have 2 different dimension grounds. So I have something additional, like if I go first against a combo deck, then I'm gonna take this one. If I go second against combo decks, I'm gonna play Dark Ruler No More and Board Wipes. If I go second against back row decks, I'm gonna play Hey Tunate and the Feather Duster. And now the most important card in the side deck is Bujingi Peacock. Now, why am I citing this? Well, the effect is that in main phase 2, I can send this card from the hand to the graveyard to search a Bujin monster from deck to the hand. And this is very good in the side deck, because if I go first, then I'm not going to be able to use this card. But if I go second, this is basically just an additional copy of either Yamato, or if I draw into the Yamato while I have this card in hand, I can also search the Crane with this, I can search the Hair with this, anything. So this going second, this is a very strong card, and going first, it's very dead. However, or like at least on the first turn, it's dead. So I definitely wouldn't like I wouldn't want to open this going first. That's why I chose to put it completely in the side deck. But then we have 9 copies of Yamato, or additional copies of any Bujingi really that you want. That's basically it, guys. So until the support comes, I'm gonna play this variant. I'm also gonna do a video really soon on, if the support were here now, how I would play this deck. So definitely be on the lookout for that. But so far I'm very happy with this. It's also a lot of fun, and it can be very cheap depending on how you build it. Obviously this is a little bit more of an expensive build, but you can definitely test it out online and see what you can like substitute for cheaper options and stuff. It's very fun though. I've linked the video before, just go check it out, the video where I played against Dogmatic Eldritch. It's also a very fun matchup, very grindy, so if you're on the lookout for slower decks and grindier matchups, then this might actually be for you. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, then definitely leave a like. If you didn't, then leave a thumbs down, but also let me know in the comments what you didn't like, because I'm always trying to improve my content. And also if you have any suggestions for improving this deck, if you're like a huge Bujin fan and you have some spicy text or whatever, then also definitely let me know in the comments. And other than that, guys, see you next time.